Now we are going to have a session on Project iRASTE, Reimagine Road Safety with the Predictive Power of AI, Predictive AI for Road Safety by Konala Verma Garu. Verma S. Konala Garu is a 26-year Intel veteran with the first 5 years in design, testing, and validation, followed by 21 years in all facets of marketing like tech, product, planning, ecosystem enabling, and business development. Majority of his business side experience has been in a startup like environment handling multiple responsibilities, taking products from conception to revenue. He is currently on deputation from Intel as the CEO of INI, the Applied AI Research Center in IIITH, that is a public-private collaborative effort between Intel, IIITH, PHFI, and Government of Telangana. Sir, I request you to come on to the dais.
Thanks, Lakshmi. Morning, everybody. Good. So now that you had your tea, I guess we can wait for the lunch. I can take all the time I want, right? Okay. So she did the intro. I'll add a little bit more background, right? So this Applied AI Research Institute here is a public-private initiative between Intel, IIIT Hyderabad, and Government of Telangana. And the main goal for us is to use AI to actually solve real problems on the ground, right? So that way we have two focus areas. One is healthcare, then the other one is mobility. I think you had 2 sessions of healthcare. So we'll change tack a little bit here and we'll talk about mobility, and I'll talk about one of the flagship projects we have in mobility. Right. So the name of this program is Project iRASTE, and as you can see, there are multiple partners in this project. And the goal here is to use AI to actually reduce road accidents, right? As you're probably aware, our country leads the world in terms of road accidents, right? Every year we have the highest number of accidents and deaths compared to any other country in the world. So whenever we talk to, other folks, the government or any other people about AI, they're like, all this technology is good, but can you use this technology to actually do something that will solve our society's problems, right? So that's how we started this program. Right? So, and when we talk about road accidents, there is no one silver bullet that you can say, I'll do this one thing and reduce road accidents, right? There are a lot of vectors, and I'll talk about the activities that we're doing, which is a combination of using technology, engineering, on-the-ground activities, awareness. There are a whole host of things, right? The plan through this project is to come up with a blueprint that we can give to the government and say, this is the blueprint for a program that you can use to reduce accident that you can replicate across the country. So I'll show a short video first that will give you an overview of the program, then I'll talk about the different vectors of the program.
India has one of the largest road networks in the world and is emerging as the fastest growing network. With more vehicles on the road, safety is now crucial than ever before. To help address this, the Government of India is aiming for a 50% reduction in road fatalities by 2025. In Nagpur, the geographical center of India, a pivotal project is taking shape. For the first time, artificial intelligence will act as a force multiplier and transform road safety engineering. Presenting iRASTE, Intelligent Solutions for Road Safety through Technology and Engineering, a project that aims to achieve up to 50% decline in road accidents in Nagpur city. Project iRASTE is a unique partnership of industry, academia and government, and is initiated by Nagpur Municipal Corporation, CSIR, CRRI, Mahindra and Mahindra, INI, IIIT Hyderabad and Intel. It brings in a holistic, safe systems approach to aspects of vehicle safety, mobility analysis and infrastructure safety. Advanced Driving Assistance Solution, or ADAS, will offer an economical way to enhance safety of fleets and road users. ADAS alerts, alongside driver assessments and training, can notably improve driver performance. Mobility analysis will monitor dynamic risks of the entire road network to define grey spots. Preventive maintenance of such risky stretches will prevent black spots before they claim lives. Infrastructure safety will design engineering fixes for existing road black spots. Continuous monitoring will also deliver improved ROI of road infrastructure maintenance. Join us in the mission to reimagine road safety with the predictive power of AI. Project iRASTE, intelligent solutions for road safety through technology and engineering.
Cool. So as the video shows, right, we have three major vectors in this project, right? The first vector is about vehicle safety and driver safety, right? That's the most important part, right? We'll start with the driver and see how we can equip the driver with technology to make the driver a better driver. Right? Then we'll talk about infrastructure safety, right? Okay, we have done some with the driver. Then what about the conditions on the road? That's the second vector. And the third one is, again, using AI, we call it mobility analysis. I'll explain that in a little bit more detail. Right? So let's get into the first vector. Right? How can we make the driver a better driver? So here, the device that you see is called either a CAS device, collision avoidance system, or ADAS, right? Advanced driver assistance. Over the past 4 or 5 years, you have seen a lot of news articles on autonomous driving, cars that can drive on their own. Right? So while that is happening in other parts of the world, as you can imagine, right, in India, that's going to take a long time before a car can drive on its own in India, right? So what we're doing is, so this technology that you see here, right, this is essentially a camera. What you see here, this is a camera that is facing the road. So we put this on the dashboard, and this camera is in real time monitoring the entire, all the traffic and all the conditions on the road, and is giving alerts to the driver of any impending accidents, right? So here you see different kinds of warnings that this device can give, whether it is a forward collision warning, right? Collision with the vehicle in front of us, or if there are any pedestrians or other vehicles in front of them, right? So these are the different kinds of warnings, and this device gives warning of 2 to 3 seconds of any impending accidents to the driver, and then the driver can take evasive action, right? So this same camera, by the way, can do autonomous driving also. So we have the same cameras in other parts of the world where we put 6 of these cameras in a car, and the car completely drives on its own, but not in India, right? We're going to take some time to get there. But what we did was we put these cameras in cars, and the algorithms that predict these accidents that are about to happen, right, are tuned for Indian conditions, right? Because the road network and conditions in India are very different from the road conditions in the outside world. So this actually, the system that you see here, it was put in a Mahindra vehicle, and they roamed around all over the country for 3 years. We collected all that data, and the algorithms were trained on that data. So if you buy, say, a Mahindra XUV 700, the same system exists in there, right? So we put this on the buses in Nagpur, so around 250,000 of them, the public fleet, right? And over the past 9 months, right, the map you can see, they've been right, driving all over the world, all over Nagpur, the map that you see. And then the kind of warnings that they get, I talked about 4 different kinds of warnings: forward collision warning, pedestrian warning, right, side collision warning, right? So you see the different kinds of warnings. But so the thing is, now you put these devices, how are you going to measure how effective they are? Right? So the way we have gone about it is, we first put the device and then turn on the alerts, but not for the driver. All the alerts come to our backend, to our server. So for the first 1 month, for every bus, there are around 250 buses in Nagpur, we get the number of alerts per bus, right, for 1 month. Then we know, okay, this, for example, if we get 100 alerts per that month, or 150 alerts per driver, we know this driver is driving this particular way. After a month, we turn on the device. Then we see if the number of alerts went down or went up. the number of alerts went down, that means the driver is actually paying attention to the device and actually taking some action. If the number of alerts went up, then it means the driver doesn't care about the device, right? So this is how we're driving the effectiveness of this device on the driver behavior. Right? Ultimately, this has to translate into reduced accidents. That analysis is going on, that will take time. But the first level of analysis is the number of alerts going down compared to a baseline for a driver or not. Here you see the first month data, right? What we have seen in the very first 2-3 months after we put the device is the number of, around 50% of the drivers, the number of alerts went down. So, you know, for 250 buses, we have around 300 drivers. So half of them are paying attention, right? Which is not bad actually, right? If you see how the drivers drive out there, right? And what you've seen is over time, the first 2 months, they paid attention to the device. It's a new device, you know, they're getting some alerts. But over time, again, it goes down. So after 2-3 months, we go and again have some awareness sessions, have classes with them, and it again goes up, right? So technology is one aspect, right? I mean, this device that you see that gives this AI-based alerts, the development of this device started, Intel bought this company called Mobileye. They started around 15 years ago. And now we have done work in India specifically for the last 3 years. So there's a lot that went into technology, but technology is only one aspect, right? Once you deploy the technology, you have to spend a lot of time with the end users to get them to actually adopt the technology, right? Especially for something like this, right? So this is one aspect, right, where you put these devices in the buses and the drivers are getting a little bit better. Okay, that's fine, but it doesn't matter how good the driver is if the road is bad, right? So that's where we get into the second vector, infrastructure safety. How many of you know what a black spot is? Anybody know what a black spot is? The students. I need the students to speak up. Anybody? No? Or with a black spot on a highway, what is the definition of a black spot on a highway? Accidents? Okay, accident-prone regions, sure, yeah. So we have this definition from MORTH, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highway, where based on the last 3 years of data, right, for any given road network, they look at the last 3 years of data, and if there are certain number of accidents and certain number of deaths, then they define it as a black spot. So we actually have a black spot map for the entire country. So this is our focus area, right? You know, these are the areas which are more prone to accidents and people are dying there, right? So we said, okay, now we equip the drivers are getting better. Now we need to go address the black spots, because black spots are there for multiple reasons. A lot of the times because the road geometry is not good. There is some obstacle or you know, the road is narrow, various reasons. So we went to all the agencies in Nagpur, and every agency had a different list. You go to the traffic department, they have their own list. You go to the municipal corporation, they have their own list. So first of all, we had to get all the information from everybody, digitize it, and then apply the definition according to the protocol. And then finally, we ended up with 38 spots. So we took all these 38 spots and developed detailed project reports. So one of the partners we have in this project is CRRI, Central Road Research Institute. So they're the premier road research institute in the country who does this kind of work, right? Because this is not something we do here at IIIT, right? This domain knowledge we don't have, right? So this is the second aspect, right? The first aspect is making the driver better. The second aspect is making the roads better, right? Here again, coming up with the plans is the first step, right? And I'll show you one example. Here is a video where the before and after of the plan we propose. So that this kind of plans were done for all the 38 black spots in Nagpur. The bottom is what exists today, the top is what is proposed, all the changes that are proposed. In terms of road signage, having bus bays, right? Proper demarcation, whole host of things. that's good enough, I'll move on. So this is the second aspect where we come up with detailed project reports for each one of these black spots, right? So this is really engineering. There is no AI in there, right? It's the, the transportation engineering folks develop the engineering plans. Now, developing plans is one thing, but in India, as you know, there are lots of plans. You really need to find an agency who take this plan and actually make change on the ground, right? So this is where, our project is sponsored by Mr. Gadkari, so we work very closely with him. Even then, there are 5 different agencies who owns the roads in a given track. There is NHAI, there is Municipal Corporation, there is PWD, even within PWD there are lots of agencies. So we had to go talk to everybody and find the owner for each one of these plans and get them included in their budget so that they can actually, to implement all these changes that we're showing in these videos, costs anywhere from 30 to 50 lakhs. So somebody has to put it in their budget and then actually do the work on the ground, right? So that is happening right now, where we're given all these detailed project reports and they're making their detailed plans, right? So that is the second aspect, right? Actually making the roads better, right? But the thing is, these black spots are lagging indicators. How do you know something is a black spot? Accidents have happened, people have died. What if we have a lot of data, right? We have 250 buses equipped with all these devices, and they're giving us all this data every day in terms of the alerts, right? And also how if the driver is braking really bad, GPS data, all kinds of data, right? Based on all the data, can we predict where the future black spots are going to be, right? That's where the real value of technology is. Accidents have happened, people have died. So what? Okay, you'll go fix the roads. But if you can predict where the future black spots will be, that's where the authorities can take some action, right? That's the real value there. So that's where we get into mobility analysis, and we defined a new concept called gray spot. It's not black yet, it can become a black spot in the future. So this is where we take, we are getting a lot of data every day from the 250 buses. So the map you see there is for one specific slot. I think this is around maybe 9 to 10 a.m. You see all the hotspots. That's a Nagpur map, and where you see all the hotspots where we get most of the alert data from. So based on this, we are defining something called gray spot, and then we work with the authorities to take some measures. Here, you don't need to do a lot of work like you have to go correct the roads. You can take simple measures that can have a lot of benefit. This goes into a little bit technical detail of the equation that we use and how the gray spot is calculated. Right? This takes all the alert data that we're getting from the devices and also the road geometry that's there. And then on top of it, we actually developed a GIS database that includes all this data. So this kind of stuff doesn't exist for any city in India. This is the first time we have done, where this includes all the road network data, the black spot, gray spot, and also we digitize the entire FIR data in Nagpur, right? All the FIR data for all the accidents. So for any given spot, we have complete information of why is a black spot, what kind of accidents happen there, who all are involved, right? So this is a very comprehensive database that we're analyzing to see if we can get more insights, right? Okay, so these are 3 aspects we talked about, right? Improving the driver behavior with these AI-based devices, fixing the black spots, and then predicting black spots using the AI data. You can do all this, but still you need to do considerable awareness campaigns. So I'll get to awareness campaigns. Before that, whatever I talked about so far is Nagpur, right? Nagpur, we're doing this in an urban setting. Right? But if you see our accident data across the country, 50% of the accidents happen on the highways. Right? The highways constitute only 5% of our network, but 50% of the accidents happen on the highways. So if we can replicate the same plan on the highways, then we'll have a lot bigger return on, right, ROI, right? So this is where we kicked off a program here in Telangana, where we are focused on 2 major highways, right? Hyderabad to Vijayawada and Hyderabad to Bangalore. So far we have installed these devices in 100 of these buses, and 100 more will install, right? So here, even if we can make a small incremental change, it will save a lot of lives. So this is a second project, right? So with the combination of both these projects, right, we will have a blueprint that we can give to the government, whether it is an urban road setting or whether it is a highway road setting, right? That these are the measures you need to take to improve the road safety. And there is one more thing we've done for Telangana, right? There in Nagpur, I only talked about the CAS camera that is facing the road. In Telangana buses and some of them, we put a camera that is looking at the driver also. So this monitors 5 different things, as you can see, whether it's smoking or on the phone, not wearing a seat belt. And the last 2 are the most critical, right? Which is whether he's distracted. I mean, if he's driving, he needs to look straight. If he's looking somewhere else, the camera can detect. That's one of them. And the last one is drowsiness. If he's sleepy, right, the camera tracks his eyelids. If he's sleepy, then it detects too, right? So this is another level of safety awareness we're adding, right? Not only the road conditions, but even the driver conditions. So the combination of these 2, right, will give us a lot more insights into what is happening when an accident is about to happen. And then this is the black spots on the Telangana highways, right? There is a lot of them. I talked about 38 spots in Nagpur. Here there are a lot more, right? This is the Hyderabad-Vijayawada highway. All these blue spots are all black spots. And then the Hyderabad-Bangalore, all these red spots are black spots. So there's a lot more here that we need to address. So this program, the Telangana program, was kicked off around 4 months ago. So we just got started. The Nagpur was kicked off around 1 year ago. So we're a lot more ahead on the Nagpur project than the Telangana project. Okay. And then the last thing I want to talk about is awareness, right? All these aspects are one thing, using technology, using engineering, all that stuff. Beyond all this, you actually need to run a lot of programs on the ground to improve the awareness of the people. So what we're doing is these gray spots that we have defined in Nagpur, we're doing pilot projects with NGOs where they take a gray spot and all the locality around it, they actually go house to house and run awareness programs to improve the driving habits. As you guys all know, ultimately it's the driving habits that cause these accidents, right? All the people going on the wrong route, all these things, right? So it's a combination of all these things. Just putting technology will do something for you, right? But that's not the end all be all, right? It's a combination of all these things: technology, engineering, infrastructure development, awareness programs. So this is a complete blueprint that we want to do for, this is a 2-year project, right? And come up with results and give it to the government so that they can replicate this program across the country. Right? I won't go through all the details, guys. I talked about most of this, right? But ultimately, the plan is, right, using technology and engineering and all these things, actually do something for the society that will show improvement, right? In this thing, we actually have to reduce accidents. In the healthcare side also, right, we have programs like oral cancer screening where we want to save lives, right? That's the goal of this thing, right? Actually use AI, right, to have an impact on the society. Right? Okay, that's all I have. Any questions? Yeah.
And I wanted to understand this device or the project planning also takes into consideration the climatic conditions.
Absolutely, yeah.
So suppose you have like a foggy area, so
Yeah.
how does the device actually understand about the road awareness and the warning system?
Yeah. So this device and the algorithms that go into the device, right? Actually, the chips we have in this device are 5th generation chips. So these algorithms have been developed over 15 years across wide climatic conditions, right? I mean, there's obviously a limit, right? If your visibility is almost like, I don't know, 1 meter or even less than a meter, it's tough. But to the extent possible, right, it gives you the thing. I mean, the same camera right now it's running in Israel, South Korea, and New York, especially New York, which is similar road conditions as India, right? Traffic is chaotic. Cars are running completely autonomously. We put 6 of these cameras on the car. It's running completely autonomously, right? So far, no incidents. So that should tell you that, right? That's one aspect, but that's all basic technology development. Then we had to customize it for Indian conditions, right? They see a lot of things in India that they don't see anywhere else in the world. You have people coming in front of the car asking it to stop, right? The algorithm doesn't recognize it outside the world. So, right? So we had to do a lot of customization. That's where I said we put this thing in a car and it ran all over the country for 3 years, collected all the data, and then had to customize it for India. And the algorithm continues to learn. Right? So one more thing I haven't talked about is actually because, take Nagpur for example, right? Because we have 250 of these running, they actually collect all the road infrastructure data. For example, right? The light poles, the stop signs, the railings, everything. So based on that, we're building a really good 3D map of all the road network that I shown in Nagpur. Same thing we'll do in Telangana. So this is a real-time map of the road. It gets updated every day. That is very useful for the authorities. Yes. Yes. So this is mostly, right now, the pilot we're doing is mostly actually for front collisions, right? So we have a camera that's looking at the front. It looks at around, a little bit more than 180 degrees, right? If somebody is coming from the side, we can't really see that, right? We can put cameras on the sides also to do that, but every extra camera we put adds more to the cost, right? So in our pilot right now, we're only focused on the front, right? But somebody wants to do it, so the plan is actually to show the effectiveness of this in one dimension so that the ministry can actually mandate these devices for everything down the line, right? If we can show that, hey, this device is able to do this and reduce accidents, the ministry is ready to say, I'll mandate this so that everybody needs to put in. At least start with one dimension, right? Then we can add more cameras as necessary. Because right now we have cars, we have 6 of these cameras on a car, and all the data is synthesized, and the car can completely drive on its own, right? So our algorithms already take into account all the dimensions, right? In this pilot in India, we're only working on just the front. Yeah. From the side, you mean? Okay, I'm not aware of that. Yeah, yeah. Technology will only go so far, by the way, right? Just to, right? We can do all this, but ultimately technology will give the driver more information. But the driver has to accept that information and actually take action, right? If the driver himself doesn't care, not much we can do with technology. Gopal, sir. Yeah. Vehicle density, not as high as in Hyderabad, but in the city, it might be comparable to Pune. I don't have the numbers on the top of my head, but in the city, actually, it's pretty dense. Yes, it will be. Because it's really about, I mean, density is one factor. It's really about giving the driver, right, advance warning. And is that translating to, right, the driver taking effective action to reduce the accidents, right? So, I mean, we'll have the numbers. Right now, we are looking at numbers before we install the devices, accident data, and then after the thing. It's a little bit complicated because we started this project last year, and the year before that is COVID data, where the accident data is really low, right? So we will have to compare it to real numbers, like maybe in 2018 numbers, and then see if the accident number came down. There will be some correlation. How much of correlation, we'll have to see. Yeah.
See, most of our roads in, I can say about Hyderabad, there are no road signs.
Yes.
And potholes are not repaired soon enough. And so the driver behavior is grossly affected. And if you just take the junction in front of IIIT, you will see at any time in the day and night, there will be people driving against the traffic.
Yes.
On the same side of the road.
Yes, wrong side
And
driving. Yes.
So this is purely driver education.
Yes.
And I don't think our traffic police or the government is doing enough for this.
Well, they're making some noise this week, but in general, no.
Noise
Yes.
is not enough. It
Yeah.
has to be a stricter implementation. You have to cancel the license
Yeah.
if they are found guilty. So it has to be a very serious education. Our licensing of the RTA is also highly faulty.
Yeah.
So apparently they have now outsourced the driving test
To somebody.
to
Yeah.
private parties. I mean, that's not going to work.
Yeah. So we actually, on this aspect, we are doing a lot of work in Nagpur, where we're working with NGOs to do a lot of awareness programs, right? So we'll see, right? There is no easy answer here, right? Yeah.
Yes, there is no easy answer, but then when are we going to?
So we're doing a combination of all these things, Gopal. I know, I understand, right? Yeah. Yeah. This is not, I mean, the part of the reason why we took up this project is, right, this is a big problem, and the problem is only getting worse. The number of accidents are only going higher every year, right? Unless we do some sort of intervention, technology is one aspect, there's other aspects, right? We'll see if we can make a dent in it. Even a few lives saved is a lot. Please. I think that person behind you. So BMW, yeah, it probably has, I have not seen what is in ADAS in BMW, but a lot of the cars have similar systems now, right? Actually, BMW might have the same system, I'll have to check, right? Because this Mobileye supplies, the company which does this, which is now Intel subsidiary, it supplies this system to a lot of other car manufacturers, and they put it in their car. See, that's the goal, right? We want to, right now, you get it only in a BMW. We want to prove the effectiveness of this thing, and right now this device costs around 35 to 40,000. We're trying to manufacture in India to bring it down. We want to make this a standard feature. We want to get the government to make this a standard feature, so that even the very basic model of the car has this feature, right? That's the goal. Right now, we have it only in BMWs and Audis and all the high-end cars. State transport, yeah.
Anywhere in any of the states, the state transport drivers are the most disciplined ones. So the accident rates, as far as this set of categories of drivers are concerned, will be the least. So why did we select them? That's number one. Yeah. And the most prone to heavy vehicles in the heavy vehicle category are those, the kind of trucks that carry metals and roads, and they have that urgency to complete large number of trips per day, and then that's there. So that was one. Second is the identification of the road defects, defects on the road, whether it is sums or One of the features that we saw in that earlier presentation was we wait till rains to come, and then we see where waterlogging is there, and then. But we have done a simulation earlier on a black cloth with an LED cross image there, and we have found that if you make any changes on that cloth at night, we can easily find out from this framework that we can detect as a computer vision problem whether it is a design change or what. So why are we not going for this? Because night time, if we can ask these vehicles to patrol, we'll be able to identify this kind of road defects. Secondly, second aspect is about this driver category.
Yeah, so the first one, see, for us to actually show the effectiveness of these devices, we needed a big enough fleet, right? And that's the reason we went with this. We talked to some private fleets also, right? But that was taking a lot longer. And this government fleet was easier to kick off, right? So we started with that, right? But we also talking in Nagpur, we also have these devices installed in a private cab operator, not just buses, right? So we have the buses and also private cab operators. Here also we're talking to the private operators to see if we can put them in the private fleet, right? It's a lot of buses on the Hyderabad-Bangalore highway every night, right? Yeah. So that's the next phase, right? The second aspect, in terms of the road conditions and all that, we already have these devices in the buses collecting data every day. So we're already getting it, so it's just synthesizing the data, right? We can put extra devices in something, but we already have this installed, right?
This is follow up on the comment that you made that you are trying to mandate it in every car, right? So there is ARAI, Automotive Research Association of India at Pune.
Correct.
So they are the ones who I know sort of set standards for the cars because they are a sort of a government. So you can approach them. And second thing is you mentioned it's 30,000 or something. I haven't seen your presentation. I just came in now.
Sure.
But even, I mean, I have been on there, some of the interactions I had with them. Just few year ago, 6 airbags were made compulsory in every car. And there is a lot of, what I must say, the car manufacturers are not for it because it's increasing the cost of the car.
Correct.
So if it's 30,000, then I think they
No,
may...
30,000 they will not adopt.
Yeah,
right?
so I mean, it is, I mean, next to impossible for getting it in every car. That has been, I mean, just an observation.
No, absolutely, right? So our first goal is to actually show the effectiveness of this thing, right? That's what the minister wanted. What you just do the pilot and give me the data. Then we'll have to work with ARI and other agencies to standardize this thing. Then we'll have to bring the cost down, right? Multiple steps. First thing is show the effectiveness of the devices. Yeah, two-wheelers is I think we can put the thing and we can give the alert. I'm not sure two-wheelers will actually take action. That's the thing, right? But I think if we can get two-wheelers to stop driving on the wrong side of the road, I think 50% of the accidents will stop in our country, right? We don't need any technology. Just stop driving on the wrong side of the road, right? It's a totally different problem, right? Here, I mean, most of the accidents we care about are actually all the accidents that happen on the highways at high speed and things like that, right? Where if we can give them this alert 2 to 3 seconds before potential accident can happen, then they can take some evasive action, right?
Sir,
Yeah.
this device is available for everyone, sir?
Yeah. So this
From low level to high level?
Yeah, this right now this is available in the market, right? So a lot of so this Intel sells this device. Right now they're selling it to a lot of fleet operators, right? Who run these truck fleets and bus fleets, right?
Sir, for bikers?
Bikers.
Bikers.
That's what I was just answering.
No, sir, I'm asking not like that. The bikers are very traveling from here to Ladakh.
Yeah.
In the Ladakh, the roads are not unconditional roads, sir.
Yeah.
The lots of pits are there. The pits can be directed from those AI.
So we can put this device, if the biker wants to put it on the device, we can, right? But it's just not targeted to them right now. If somebody wants to buy it and put it, they can. It's not stopping them. Right?
And the weather is so cloudy or else in rainy times. the bikers don't can visit those pits and they are getting actions, sir.
Yeah. So, I mean, I used to drive a bike. I don't drive anymore, but I think with bikers we have a different set of issues, right? Even before getting into technology. Right. Naren.
Yeah. So my question is, so we are detecting it in a localized fashion, right? Where you actually take a, is there a plan to detect in a, like with the connectedness of the devices that you guys have? Like, because doing in a fleet is different,
Yeah.
right? Once you adopt to a bigger set of buses or bigger set of whatever vehicles that are there, could actually take in the data to give a collective information to everything, right? Maybe like a predictive or a preemptive measure,
Yeah.
right?
Not yet. I mean, there is a lot of research happening in terms of connected vehicles and things like that, right? So we have not thought about it because right now we want to first get it in the, because for the driver, right, he only cares about the environment in front of him, right? We can connect these devices, and, I mean, this is a 4G SIM in there, right? So all these devices could be connected, right? But we have not spent much time on that yet.
Is there any speed detection options? If any vehicle is coming straight opposite to our vehicle.
Yeah. Not opposite, opposite of course it will know, but right now this detects all the signs which are in front of you, right? If there is a speed sign, right, say it says 60 kilometers per hour, the camera actually detects it and displays it on the watch that it is 60, right? So it detects all the signs automatically and displays it, right? Thing is, in this thing it's only ADAS, so we're not connecting it to the control loop. If it's an autonomous device, then it will automatically control the car. Here it's up to the driver to take action. Hackable, in theory, yes, right? It's connected device, so, there are lots of videos on the net where the Teslas are hacked, right? Where it's a continued exercise. In this case, because we are not, see, for an autonomous driving, it's a much bigger problem, right? Because you're actually controlling the car, controlling the vehicle. In this case, you're only giving the alert to the driver, so there's a man in the loop and the driver has to take action. So the risk is not that high that somebody would hack it and do something with it. Right? App for yeah, so we have a backend dashboard where the fleet operator gets all the thing and they track it real time. Right? Not mobile, right? I mean, we can develop an app for mobile. Right now, it's a PC-based app. Right? Yeah. Because the fleet operator needs to see, if the fleet operator has 20 trucks, he needs to see all that in a computer. Two-wheelers, you mean? Two-wheelers will have to think, right? First, we want to show the effectiveness for actually bigger vehicles, right? So, yeah. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So it is recording the, so we have the records of all the alerts, right? It's not recording the video is not sent to the server, only the alert data is sent to the server. So if an accident happens, then we'll have all the alert data so that we can say, hey, you got the alert but you did not take action, right? So we get the request from right now TSRTC and the other operators, some buses get into accident. Can you send me all the alert data to see if it is the driver fault or somebody else's fault? So what we do is right now actually for all these buses, we have 3 operators in Nagpur. Every month we send the top 5 and the bottom 5 based on this alert data. So the top 5 get incentives and the bottom 5 they have to go to classes. Right? So this is a continuous mechanism, right? Just because you give technology, things are not going to get better. You have to work on it. Shift between. Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. On the driver, right? No, but the same technology fits in a car, you get the same alerts, right?
Sir,
Go ahead.
what happens in the case of drunken drive? Can the device actually predict it? I mean,
So
see?
this device that is facing the road obviously doesn't know what the driver is doing, right? But the other thing we have in Telangana with the DMS, right? Not drunken drive per se. If he's drunk, then you know his head won't look straight and he'll be droopy, right? From those two things we should be able to detect, right? Well, I mean we don't have we don't have an alcohol monitor in there, right? Breath analyzer in there, right?
Yeah.
That the operator will do, right? This is non-invasive, right? Camera looking at it and telling you what the condition of the driver is, right? Completely non-invasive. Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, as we know that drowsiness allotment is in the system, but the automatic stopping system option is there in the system.
Right now we have not enabled it, right? The system can do it, right? But see, you can't enable just one bus automatically to stop when everybody else, right, is just going, right? That lead to more accidents, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Then accidents will happen. To prevent that, the device can detect that there is a brake failure in this device, in this vehicle, and there is a type and there. And this vehicle is also can be alerts to surrounding vehicles. In that vehicle, is that any feature like that?
Not brake failure. So this device is connected to the OBD port. If you know, most of the vehicles have the OBD port where you get all the diagnostic information of the vehicle. So this is connected to the OBD port where it reads the speed of the vehicle, if the braking, if it's doing, you know, harsh braking and things like that. I don't think we detect these conditions we talked about, right? Even then, right, tire puncture, the driver will know, right? He doesn't need the device to tell him, right? If there is brake, then he'll get a warning, right? Based on that, he can take, right? He can take action. Ultimately, but the driver has to take action, right? The device will only give him an alert. He has to take action. Surrounding vehicles, no, it only gives to the driver because the driver is in control of the vehicle, right? Surrounding vehicles, that's what Naren asked, right? Then it needs to be a connected ecosystem. That's a lot bigger solution, right? Right now we're focused on putting the device in one vehicle and making that driver better, right? Then we'll go to a connected ecosystem. Right?
Sir.
Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Strokes.
Yeah.
So we can't say the alarm can.
So in Nagpur, we don't have a DMS, driver monitoring system. In Telangana, in some other buses, we have the DMS. Like I said, the camera is looking at the driver.
So why don't we develop a machine like control after 3 alarms?
Yeah.
Having a brake. Why don't we giving a command like having brake, keeping the vehicle safety side?
So
Parking.
yeah, see, you can't do this in isolation, right? So right now, the system I have can do that, but I can't put this in just one bus and then there are 100 buses around. This guy, because of an alert, this guy goes and stops, right? Then there actually more accidents will happen. If you control only one bus, the other buses don't stop, right?
Like his question is actually, see, as soon as a person is affected with a stroke or something like that, when he's driving all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and then he has to, what he meant is like, he has to, the vehicle has to stop on its own, okay?
That
The
means
strategy
we
here
have to
is
have
like,
control of the control
yeah.
electronics of the vehicle.
Like actually, first he needs to get 3 beeps, and then the vehicle has to slow down, and then it automatically has to go to the left side.
Yeah.
And hot shoulder, and obviously it has to stop there, not on exactly on the road.
I know,
Otherwise, the people,
but
people
that's the
coming from
next
behind
level.
is-
See here, if you see the autonomous driving, there are multiple levels, level 1 to level 4, right? This is level 0 where we still have the driver responsible for taking the action. So we can ratchet up the levels. Where we go higher levels, we take more control of the vehicle. We can do that. Currently, we are not doing that. We can do that, right?
Sir,
Sure. Yes, it has a GPS built in. Yeah.
I think my voice is already loud enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so considering there are black spots, so like, is there a system of checkpoints on those like areas, on such areas?
Yeah, so we're trying to build that in the system because we already know the black spots, right? So when the vehicle is coming closer to the black spot, to give him a warning that you're entering a black spot area, be more careful. So we're working on that. Right?
But other than that, why not like inculcating the fact that there will be checkpoints, as in just in case you know that you're able to track their location, and like just in case the driver is not conscious enough, or like whatsoever may happen. So in that case, if there are checkpoints in between, there will be chances that okay, someone else might help him to prevent
See, I think this is similar to what is asked, right? The question is to what level of control you want to go, right? Level 0 is, right now if you see the autonomous driving definition, level 0 is completely you give the alerts and the driver does the control. Level 4 is where completely the system is controlled by the cameras, right? And there are levels in between. Right now we're at level 0. Now we can go to higher levels where we can take more control of the vehicle and do some of these actions, right? But first of all, we want to show the effectiveness of the device at level 0 itself.
so that is true. Like I'm talking about only the 2 ways that that is being taken place from here, I guess, from Telangana to Vijayanagar and to Bangalore.
Yeah.
These 2 highways.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about all other highways and everything else, but at these 2 places, because you're taking it in under consideration, why don't you also consider having checkpoints at these, like a strict checkpoint or something like that?
So this is where we'll have to work with the users, right? See, we are providing the technology and we're working with TSRTC and the state government agencies. To go beyond the technology, right, we give the data to TSRTC and they have to take some action. We have to work with the road highway authority, right? A lot of things beyond technology we'll have to work with, right?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, you spoke about the alert system.
Yeah.
So how you are going to implement that thing, like whether it is going to be like beep system or something like that, or like how much time, how far, like let's say 5 seconds before the alert will come. So how that process going to disturb a driver? So he'll be like focusing on more on beep system every time whenever we are doing something. There is a beep sound will be coming. So instantly within a span of like let's say 1 month, he will stop using that system itself. So how you are going to address that?
Okay, give me just 1 second. I'll show you actual videos of Nagpur, right? And then I'll answer your question. So right now the driver gets alerts 2 ways. One is the audio alert and the other one is this small, the display device. That's the watch, right, where he sees. Right? So this is actual footage from Nagpur. Yeah. Yeah, this doesn't have audio, right? So you had two questions. The first thing is, so a lot of research was done on what is the optimal timing for the alert, right? Is it 1 second, 2 second, 5 second? Ultimately, after all the research, we concluded 2 to 3 seconds is the ideal time, which is, if you make it 5 seconds, it's too long, he'll ignore it. If you make 1 second, he doesn't have enough time to respond, right? So that's 2 to 3 seconds. Yeah, they'll get used to it, they'll ignore it. This is where every 2 to 3 months we do refresher training. And also, like I said, incentives, right? Sorry? Yeah, absolutely, right? Some of these drivers disconnect the thing, we have to go connect them again. It depends on this, depending on the speed, it will tell them, right? Depends on how suddenly, right? If he has enough time to respond, right? As long as the camera can see that, right? And can recognize it, it will give, yeah.
How many?
There are some vehicles like trucks and heavy loaded lorries, right? They can't stop if it is really less distance, right?
Yeah.
As compared to cars.
Yeah.
So at which distance it will give the alert?
So the alert is based on the speed of your vehicle, the speed of the vehicle in front of you. Based on all that, the 2 to 3 seconds is calculated. Right?
I mean, let's say a car is traveling in 30 kilometer per hour,
Yeah.
and a lorry is heavy loaded lorry is also going in 30 kilometer per hour. But if
Yeah,
you
the braking
press the
distance is
brake-
different.
Yeah.
So the algorithm takes that into account. Right?
Yeah.
Right now, it's put on all the buses, right? That is a specific algorithm. If it's going on the car, it will be a different algorithm.
So thank you for your, yeah, do you have a question?
Sir, one question.
Okay.
Speaking about the India, do you think can we get to a point where we can actually have autonomous vehicles on road?
Okay. Why don't we ask the audience? We'll take a poll, audience poll, okay? I'll give my opinion and we'll take audience poll, right? So guys, autonomous vehicles, over the last 4 or 5 years, and by the way, Professor Madhav is not here, he does a lot of work on the autonomous vehicles, autonomous vehicle algorithms, right? Do you think we will have autonomous vehicles running in India, right? Never. I don't know about never, right?
Just play that video so that I can view the evidence also. Just if you play that video,
Yeah.
the previous video which you showed.
Yeah.
Where it actually, the driving system is whoever is going slow has to go on the left side.
Yeah.
Whereas, the overtaking has to happen from right side.
Correct.
This person is taken from left side, it's overtaking. How is it possible?
Yeah.
We'll follow that.
So my answer is it's going to be very difficult for a long time, right? Ultimately, we have to get discipline for autonomous driving to work here, right? It doesn't matter how good an algorithm is, it just won't be able to handle all these kinds of conditions you throw in India, right? It's very tough. Yeah. So we have something called, by the way, I'll wrap up with this, right? The mobility team here has been developing something called the Indian driving data set, right? So this is the data set of Indian driving conditions. If you see all the autonomous car developers all over the world, whether it's Google or all these companies, they all have their own data sets, which are mostly Western conditions, right? But nobody has a data set of Indian conditions, right? So this is one of the driving data sets that a lot of companies use to really validate their algorithms, right? Mobileye, for example, they have done their entire work in Israel and Europe and all that. And then when they saw the Indian driving data set, okay, this is a real test of my algorithms. Let me put it on there and see if it will work, right? So you can imagine what happened, right? So it's going to take a while for AD to work in India. In the meantime, ADAS, driving assistance, so that we can take a step further and make the drivers, right, give the drivers more information. Whether they act or not, it's up to them, but at least give them the technology, right, so that they can do something, right? That's the plan. Even if we can save a few lives, right, I think that'll be worth it. Right? Thanks, everybody.